So, Coach, first game last Friday. Did it feel normal? Once you actually got playing, did it feel like you were back playing soccer?
Greg, it was so incredibly awesome for me to just focus on soccer for the first 45 minutes and then the next 45 minutes. I can't even believe how much I've missed that. There's so many things that you're worried about this year, and the uncertainty of COVID and just trying to keep these kids safe. But, I just found my mind just worrying about the win and worrying about coaching, and it was a wonderful worry.
Next question from Sam. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Coach. You said it before the season started that, again, this is an inexperienced team, but, your senior Stephanie had a heck of a week. What kind of value does she bring to your team? And I guess, what did you see from her on Saturday, last weekend?
We know seniors have a different mindset. It's there's no more procrastination. It's your time. And I think with all the experience and growth that Steffi has acquired at West Virginia, she just brought that mindset. She was a true senior out there. So I was just so happy that, she had that moment to play and then was able to, really impact our win.
Hi, Nick. Go ahead.
Coach, it was a convincing victory last Friday, the 2-0 win over Iowa State. Tell us some of the points that you got from the first game of the season.
Yeah, it's, we were, as all teams were, a little jittery-ish. I think knowing how organized we were and understanding of doing our job, I don't know if I'm 100% confident that we're there yet. What was good to see was the mental errors. There weren't a lot of them at our end. When you get a shutout, obviously some of those mental errors weren't happening frequently, which was really important. So the building blocks and the pillars going into the K-State game, just needed to be tightened up a little bit. But we have a good foundation, and now we just got to build off of it. But I lost, as all teams, we've lost that development time in the spring, not only soccer-wise for tactics and technical, but just knowing the kids and what type of kids they are and those performing opportunities. But I was really pleased with, our mindset going into that Iowa State game.
Back to Sam. You're up.
Hey, so your schedule this year kind of got slashed in half. Instead of playing 2 games, you're just focusing on 1 every week. Does that make it easier to prepare, tougher? Do you enjoy it?
It's different. I do enjoy it. I think the preparation and recovery is so much easier. When we had that Friday, Sunday setup, it was very, very dangerous for recovery for any athlete. That's just a very small window. So I really think it's, we all like to play, and the players will tell you they want to play, but for a preparation standpoint and for a recovery standpoint, I think it's fabulous.
Back to Greg. Go ahead.
So, Coach, you'd like to play 9 straight Fridays and play the whole season through, but when you looked around the conference and saw a couple games that had to be postponed, one that got made up in an odd way, what's your thought on being able to play just an uninterrupted schedule through the fall?
That's my national championship right there. Honest to God, and it's so incredible how I think now. If I say something tactical to the team, it always goes back to being COVID safe. And it's really interesting because, the NCAA has mandated if, you're a positive and then you're on that contact list, it's 14 days, and teams are getting wiped out, right? So we talk a lot in coaching about injury and injury prevention. Have you done everything you can to not sustain an injury? And if you do get an injury, did we do everything to prevent it, right? I'm doing the same thing with this COVID now. I'm like crazy about it. So I think the lessons continue, you know, and we're talking which is pretty incredible as a coaches group. Like, hey, what did we learn about being on the road, being safe? Hey, what did we learn? Why did this happen? What happened when you had a contact? So we're all in. Like, I don't want K-State obviously to postpone, you know, like, so all of us are all in on just trying to give each other advice on how to keep these kids safe.
Next question is from Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Coach. I was just wondering, Nicole Payne, last week we weren't actually able to watch the game, but trying to decipher the lineup, it seems she was playing at fullback. We saw her moved around a lot last year, fullback on the wing as well. Can we expect to see her at right back again this season, or are you going to move her around again?
Yeah, you know, I do expect to see Nicole Payne as right back. You know, that is an area that we feel she's very effective, and, you know, she's really gotten comfortable with and has embraced that position. As you know, she has a lot of strengths in defining what a right back should look like. So she has those attributes, and we just got to keep teaching her the position. But yes, you can expect to see her there and really do the job.
Next question is from Nick Farrell.
Coach, it's good to see you. Maddie Murphy wasn't tested too terribly much in the opener, but were you able to take away anything from her performance? And you talked a moment ago about being organized. What did you see from your defense specifically that allowed you guys to cruise to victory in that first game?
Yeah, and it being our first game, I've never coached Maddie Murphy, so, you know, and we hope how you practice, how you scrimmage, translate how you play. So going into that game, I didn't know what type of you know, game time player Maddie Murphy was, and she definitely stepped up exactly and held that standard exactly to excellence. So I was really pleased with, you know, how Maddie stepped in. Being a transfer, it's never easy, let alone in COVID. So I was pleased with, you know, the leadership Maddie gave, but also, you know, she was commanding back there. She was confident back there. So that was a great starting point for her. And then you look at our back line with Jordan Brewster, you know, returning in her, you know, her junior campaign and having those two years in the back line. And she really stepped up. And again, same thing with Gabby and Kenzie, where, you know, last year was their first year in the back. So that experience really paid off. I know they weren't pleased with eliminating gaining shutouts last year, but I think all those hard losses have really helped them.
Okay, back to Sam.
Staying on Maddie, you said last week that the goalkeeper battle was going to go right down to the wire. I guess what separated Maddie from her competitors, her teammates?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing battle. I feel that Maddie was just in that mature. She was just more mature and more ready. She was just ready. And, you know, it's a battle in a lot of positions right now, and the depth we have is a strength. So I would probably put my finger on it and just say that Maddie's mindset and how she came back into camp, she was more ready than Keza.
Next question is from Kevin Kinder.
Coach, you were so good in the back end with world-class players back there that you could depend on. After they departed, did it change your approach or, you know, your mindset a little bit of, you know, wow, I don't have those players back there that I know are going to dominate play? And then you kind of touched on this a little bit in your previous answer, like you're starting to develop at least some of that with some of the players with the experience they got over the last year or two.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm giggling because I just watched film with the back line, and I was like, you know, listen, in 216, I just sat back and drank a little water and let them roll. And in this team, I got to work. You know, I got to work. But I did say that having a back line that we've had really has been an incredible opportunity for a young line to learn from. We can bring back clips, we can talk about. So the expectation is very high. I know a lot of people would say that was the best back line in the country in 216. And, I would argue with that also. With that being said, I do think there is a standard here. And I think that back line has set the standard. So with shutouts and with expectation. So I do think there is a little more pride now because of that 216 team, that this 220 team, wants to carry the same pride, but just be the best versions of their self in that line. So I do think it kind of goes hand in hand, and they do want to represent.
3 questions in the queue here. We'll go back to Matt.
Hi, Coach. As long as I've been here, you've always played the 4-3-3. We saw Lauren Segala start at the weekend, and then Alina still came off the bench and managed to score. Is there any way in which you could see those two in the same lineup together, or is the 4-3-3 something you kind of want to stick to, and that's your philosophy, and that's what you go with this team?
Yep. Yeah. I think we're going to be, we're very versatile. I think there can be a lot of interchanging. And if you would have saw the game on Friday, you would have saw that. Alina was battling a little bit of an injury, and we wanted to be very delicate with her and getting her back in. But I have a really complicated position because I have 4 forwards that I should probably play 4 up top, really. But I have 4 forwards that all can start, and it's a battle every practice. So you will see interchanging, and you will see different lineups. And I think the girls have embraced that depth.
One more from Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
Coach, I believe you guys are the first WVU team to travel for a game during the pandemic. What was that experience like?
It was an experience, to be honest with you. I mean, I haven't been on a flight or a bus or any of that. So we were extra careful. We made the players do as much as we possibly could to be COVID safe. I mean, I think all of us got stopped. Our wipies all went off in the line there because, for whatever reason, because we were wiping everything down and doing everything COVID safe. It was a little intimidating. I've been in this environment. I've been outdoors. I'm always have my windows open if I'm indoors. So being in those confined spaces was, different and challenging in many ways. But I give a lot of, recognition and compliments to our team that really stepped up and really made sure that we were being COVID safe.
And back to you, Greg.
So, Coach, question in terms of just playing time, such a unique season. 1 game a week would think you don't maybe need quite as much depth, but you want to play a lot of players. I assume you guys have the, everybody plays and you don't use a year of eligibility rule, so you're sort of free to play people. So how do you marry those two and get everybody action, but you only play once a week?
Yeah, it is, and then you throw into it now, Greg, that they're saying these games might count. So, that's another element where you do want to rotate and you do want to give everyone experience, but you also want to play to win. So it's very interesting, the dynamic of that. But probably the first Zoom I had with you guys, one of my biggest concern was injury. So with that, and as we all know, as soon as you get fatigued, that's when injuries happen. So I've been trying to be very mindful of that and making sure that we're looking at all our data from last year and we're being as smart as we can be, let alone the coach's eye, the bird's eye view of, does a player look tired? Then you have all sorts of heart rates and mileage and all sorts of things like that to look at. So it's, there is a different aspect of this season and how I'm playing people.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate everybody being on this.